Hi BookTube! My name is Sarah and welcome to the Bookish Knitter. Today I am coming to you with a Saturday chat video. And this is one that I am piggybacking off of a video that I saw about a month ago over on Lindsay Reed's channel. I will leave a link to her video in the description box below. If you have not subscribed to her, you absolutely should. She is absolutely wonderful and delightful, and she's just a lot of fun to watch. I wish she would post more. So Lindsay, if you're watching this, I know, believe me, I get how, busy life can be, but I'd love to see more videos from you. But anyway, so she did a video about how many books are too many books, essentially. And as someone whose book collection has grown substantially in the last couple of years, I thought that it would be fun to kind of weigh in on my opinion with this one. So I have a lot of books. I have a lot of books, both digitally and physically, on my Kindle Kobo, as well as all the books you guys can see behind me. So the shelves behind me are a mess. The goal for 2023 is to get them cleaned up. And these two shelves, that one and that one, are all what I refer to as my non-category collection. So anything that is not a category romance are on those two shelves directly behind me. The three bookcases here, there's 1, 2, 3, and then there's one that you guys can't see, which is over here. Those are all category romances, and in most cases, these are like triple stacked. I do have other books sitting on those shelves right now because I just don't have anywhere else to put them. So one of my goals for this year is to clean up the non-category stuff, because the whole question about how many books is too many books, that's up to you. Right? Nobody should judge anyone else in what they have and what they have in their collection and how many books they want to have and things like that. I have been to Steve Donohue's house. I am one of the few booktubers who can actually say that. And guys, you want to talk about a collection, he has a collection. And I mean, I'm envious in a way, he's got literally every wall is filled with bookcases, and it's wonderful. And that's what he wants to do, and that's what makes him happy. Somebody else might be completely content with having, a single short bookcase with maybe 20 books on it, and that's enough for them. So everyone's definition of too many is pretty much their own definition. So many years ago, because we were living in that apartment for about 5 years, so 5, 6, 7 years ago or so, when my husband and I moved into the last apartment we lived in before we moved here, like the apartment we were living in when I started this channel, we had like a 2-bedroom, and the second bedroom was very small. It was a glorified walk-in closet, let's be real. And we kind of took that over as kind of like, Garrett kind of took it over as his lounge room. And I had a few bookcases in there. The problem was I had far too many books to actually fit in that room. And I realized that, I needed to do something with them. And at the urging of some people in my family, I got rid of a lot of them. And I'm mad now that I did. I wish I had just reboxed them and put them in storage. But it is what it is, I like having a book collection. It makes me super happy. You know what I mean? And when we move, or if we move, or whenever the heck that happens, the collection I have, it's probably going to grow even more to what it is now. If there's not enough room in wherever it is that we go, then I'm probably going to look at boxing them. You know what I mean? I don't know. I haven't decided yet. But I think what I need to do, and what I think a lot of us as book readers, as readers and book collectors need to decide is, what do we want our collection to look like? There are a lot of people out there that I talk to, or that I watch videos on, and they will perhaps borrow a book from the library, or they'll read it on their Kindle, and if they really like it, then they will buy a physical copy. That's great. That's what they want their collection to look like. There are other people who are collecting specific books. There are other people who will just grab a bunch of books, buy them and then read them, and then the ones that they didn't care for, they will donate or what have you. That's great too. So what I have decided, and I've talked about this before, is that I really want my collection to truly, really be the category romance. Those are, it's a collection to me. Really, I love reading them, but it's also a collection. And I think that's what I'm going to pare down. So I think when I start cleaning stuff out, a lot of the books that you see behind me in these two shelves that are the non-category are probably going to be donated. If I've read them. If I haven't read them yet, I'm going to keep them until I've read them. Then once I've read them, I'm going to proceed to donate them to free up some room on my shelf, because there's a lot of books back there that I have read. And while I love them, I know I'm not going to reread them, so there's no point in me keeping them. Whereas like the category romances, I've probably read a good number of them, but I still want to keep them because they are my collection. Does that make sense? So I think to go to that, like, how many books is too many? You know, like 6 or 7 bookcases filled with nothing but category romances. I don't think that's too much. I think that's perfectly acceptable because they make me happy. And, you know, again, nobody should judge really anybody else. So yeah, so, you know, at the end of the day, I saw it recently, somebody posted on Facebook that that meme with Marie Kondo or whatever it is saying, you should keep no more than 30 books. And then the thing is like, what, on your nightstand? I'm like, that's true. And I mean, like, I am getting book of the month, right? And I like getting the book of the month. So those ones I would probably end up keeping as well on my shelves because they are kind of a collectible type of a book, if you will, you know, with the book of the month logo on them and stuff like that. Unless one of the books that I read I really, really don't like, then I might just go ahead and donate it. You know, the real problem is it's not, are there too many books or do you have too many books? It's, do you have enough bookshelves? That's the bigger question. Do you have enough bookshelves to fill all the books you want? So I think that, like, you know, I don't really have a ton to add to what Lindsay said. You know, when we moved here, I had a very small collection of books. I literally had that bookcase right there, which is a slightly shorter one. As you can tell, it's only 3, well, you can't really see, it's behind my chair, 3 levels or 3 shelves. And then the one over here in the corner, I had that one, and that one was only double stacked. So that's all we moved in here with, was that, like, a 5 bookshelf that was it even double? It was double stacked. And then this one, which was single stacked this way. The category romances are stacked this way in the shelves. And so since we moved in May of 2020 during the pandemic, it is now 2023. So 2020, 21, 22. So it's almost 3 years. My collection has grown to be this, including another bookcase you guys can't see, which is half full. It's another 5 thing, but it's only got 2 shelves that are double stacked. The other 3 shelves are actually filled with other stuff. I need to clean up this room a little bit. But anyway, you know, and then I bring in books from the library. So the thing is that what I've really come to realize over the last few months is that I really do enjoy reading physically and digitally, like, which is, I guess, the only 2 ways that you can really read a book. But there's also audio. And I know a lot of people will, if they own a book, will be like, all right, now I want to read it on audio, even though they have a physical or a Kindle edition of it. And you know, I do that to supplement. Like, for example, this week I borrowed Moose and Murder by Elizabeth Logan from the library on ebook. And I was reading it on ebook and I wanted to listen to it on my way back and forth to work. So I also borrowed the audio edition from Hoopla. So I was listening to it there, but most of it I was reading. But I used to be the same way. I used to be like, all right, so I own this book physically or digitally. Let me go out and get the audio version. And I just thought, but why? Like, that's something that I've come to realize that I don't like doing. And that's my personal preference. Everybody's different, right? If you want to do that, more power to you, right? But I have really figured out in the last, like, 4 months or 5 months or so, that I really, like, audio for me isn't what it used to be. Audio used to be the be-all end-all. That's how I used to read as many books as I used to read, was listening to them on audio. And now I've really realized that I like getting back to, like, my roots of reading and actually sitting with a physical book, or nowadays with my Kindle. And there's nothing wrong with reading off of your Kindle or your Kobo or whatever tablet it is that you have. You know, like, that's how I like it. You know, I used to say, like, oh, it's great that I can listen to an audiobook while doing something else. Like, I can be crafting, or I can be cooking, or I can be whatever. I don't cook. Let's be realistic. I was crafting. I don't clean really either if I can avoid it. But and even driving back and forth to work, even over the last 4 or 5 months, I've been listening to a lot more music and podcasts and stuff like that. So that's been really fantastic. But you know, I like having these books, And the whole point I was getting to before I went off on that tangent on audiobooks was that, you know, the non-category books, if I want to read a physical edition of it, I don't have to buy it. I don't have to buy it. I can try and borrow it from the library. And then I can actually read. And that's, I think, what's fun for me about going to the library is that, you know, I get to borrow all these books that I'm not paying for, but they're physical books that I can actually sit and read. And, you know I did a video a while ago talking about being an introvert and being a reader and how people will kind of sometimes bug you. Well, you know, if you're just quietly sitting and reading, like you want someone to come and talk to you. No, I'm busy. I am reading. But sometimes there's something fun about having a physical book when somebody comes by and they're like, oh, you know, like I know as a reader, you know, if I'm, for example, the doctor's office, I spend a heck of a lot of time at the doctor's office, right? So like you're sitting in the doctor's waiting room and you see people reading and you're like, oh, I wonder what they're, you know, I wouldn't go over and talk to them because they're reading, but it is kind of nice to see what other people are reading. And that's what I kind of love about having physical books, that, you know, other people can see what you're reading too. And, you know, occasionally if someone is reading something that I'm familiar with or I've read myself, I will wait until maybe they've, like, you know, closed the book or put it down or something. And then I'll say, oh, are you enjoying that? Because I really liked it, or whatever the case may be. So anyway, this was a whole rambly video, but that's what these Saturday videos are, just me talking. I just really, really liked Lindsay's video. And I pretty much, this entire video was for me to say, you know, how many books is too many books? That's up to you. You know, if you can't, you know, if it becomes a hoarder situation, maybe, but, you know, still, who are we to judge, right? But I do know I need to clean up the collection that I have. And I think that's the main thing that you need to focus on as a reader. Or we need, you know, like each of us individually as readers. Because as the joke goes, you know, reading books and collecting books are two completely different hobbies. So I think you really need to decide what your collection is going to be and what you want it to be. Do you know what I mean? So you're not just like today my husband and I were at the grocery store. And of course there's books. And I picked one up and I'm like, oh, you know, oh, it's 30% off. And then I went, I don't need a physical edition of it. And I put it back down and I'm like, I put it on my wish list for my Kindle. And I'm like, at some point, if it goes on sale on the Kindle, I will pick it up because I'm not reading it right now anyway. So it's fine. Or later down the line, if I'm in the library and I happen to see it, great, there we go. I will borrow it and read it then. So, you know, like that's one of the great things, right? Anyway, that's my ramble. Let me just quickly show you what I'm reading. I am still only reading one book at a time, you guys. I've been doing that so far for the whole year. All 14 days of it. And I'm really enjoying it. I have read, excuse me, I've got the hiccups. I have read 8 books so far this year, so I'm counting that as a win. I am reading right now Falling for His Fake Girlfriend by Shannon Stacy. This is the 4th book in the Sutton Place series. Guys, I am loving this book. I'm not going to finish it today. I'm going to be filming a vlog clip in a minute, as soon as I've done this, to finish off the vlog for this week. So this probably will not get reviewed until next week, but there is a very good potential this could end up being my first 5-star read of the year. So we shall see. That's how much I'm enjoying it, you guys. So yay. But anyway, let me know your thoughts. How many books is too many books? What does your collection look like? What do you want your collection to look like? I mean, on books, like I'm talking physical books. Like if you have a ton of books on your Kindle, that's fine, because you know what? This literally is the amount of space it takes up, which is kind of fantastic. But you know, talking physical books, right? But I do know I've talked to a lot of people with their Kindles and stuff who are going through them now and they're deleting a lot of stuff they know they're never going to get to, which I kind of think is a great idea. And I think I'm going to be doing the same, to delete a whole bunch of stuff that, you know, you picked up because it was free. And it, like, you know, when you first get an e-reader, like, oh my gosh, look at all these books that are free or 99 cents or whatever. And you buy them and then years later, you're like, I've never read it. I'm not going to read it. So you know what? I think cleaning up even the Kindle, even though it's kind of an infinite amount of space in a way, because it's on the cloud, like you only have so much space on the actual device if you're downloading everything, which I don't generally do. But just to get, it's just to clean stuff off so you're not looking at that book, so you don't see that book and you're like, great, okay, let's get on to the next thing that I actually want to read. So anyway, that's just my thoughts. Let me know yours in the comments below. And until my next video, everybody, take care and happy reading. Thank you all so much for watching. Bye, guys.